Now, as Ghana joins the world to mark Human Rights Day today, members of parliament are pushing for a fresh probe into the execution of some 56 West African migrants, including 44 Ghanaians in the Gambia. The renewed calls come on the back of confessions by 3 Gambian soldiers who admitted to participating in the execution of the Ghanaian nationals on the orders of then Gambian President Yahya Jammeh. Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, read a statement on the floor of the House to commemorate this year's International Human Rights Day, and he urged the House to push for the prosecution of the perpetrators of the massacre. Meanwhile, Speaker of Parliament Professor Michael Quay has referred the statement to the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee for perusal and submit a report to the House before Parliament resumes. Let's get on the line and speak to Kwesi Parker Wilson, our parliamentary correspondent. Hello, Parker.
Yeah, hello, Gifty.
Parker, so this statement has been referred to the committee. Is that it? What happens next?
Yeah, so the statement has been referred to the committee, as you mentioned. The committee is supposed to peruse the statement put together by Honorable Okudzeto-Ablakwa, begin their own fact-finding, and then whatever they are going to come out with, put together a comprehensive report and submit it to the House for adoption or amendment. And so the Speaker ruled that though Parliament is going on recess somewhere in the next 2 weeks, he's hoping that by the time they resume from the recess somewhere in January next year, the reports would have been ready, they would have completed their fact-finding and submitted their outcome or whatever they found to the House for consideration. And of course, if there's any amendment, they will do that. Then they will begin with the processes to investigate put together a new investigation as far as this issue is concerned.
Right, Parker. Thank you very much. Any updates from Parliament? Anything else?
Okay, so Gifty, you know that the Finance Minister, weeks gone by, presented the 2020 budget to the House. Now, this week, largely, the estimate for various ministries have started coming up. And so today, for example, the House approved the budget estimate for the Ministry of Works and Housing. Now, this ministry, according to members of Parliament, is very critical because of the number of flooding that we have seen over the years, because the drains have not been dredged and all of that. Now, today, when the chairman of the Works and Housing Committee presented his report to the House for the approval, the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, in fact, who was actually the Speaker for today's event, argued that the allocation is woefully inadequate, looking at how critical the ministry is and the things they've projected to do for the year 2020. What the monies they've been allocated to wouldn't even fund half of the activities outlined for 2020. So he expressed the reservation, and not just him, the members of the minority, most members of the minority who are in the House today, also expressed reservations about the amount of money that has been allocated to the Ministry of Works and Housing.
Right.
And Alban Babin proposed that there should be a Ways and Means Committee, at least to develop avenues or find ways of generating extra funds for critical ministries so that at least they can complement their roles and make sure that whatever they set their minds to it that they want to achieve, at least they will have the funds to execute the project that they intend to do for the year.
Right. Thank you very much. Kwesi Parker Wilson there joined us from Parliament with an update, first of all, on what they're doing on Human Rights Day. Well, Human Rights and Administrative Justice CHRAJ says it is working to integrate alleged witches in some witch camps in the northern region back into society. The Commissioner, Joseph Whittal, said such women have for many years been on the receiving end of many forms of abuse and unacceptable levels of torture. He told a commemorative event in collaboration with the UNDP in Accra. His outfit will on December 20 decommission the said witch camps and ensure that inmates have dignified lives.
December 20th, the Commission will be joining Action Aid Ghana in Nabuli at the back of Yendi in the northern region to symbolically decommission a witch camp which held alleged witches for a number of years. And through the hard work of both the Commission and Action Aid, we have been able to reintegrate the vulnerable old women who were called witches back into their communities, supporting them with some microfinance to keep them to be able to, run themselves and to make some businesses. And it is only to send a signal that we should stand up for the vulnerable. And who can be most vulnerable than an old woman who is accused of being a witch and chased out of the community? And so these are the people the Commission stands for. And we are happy to work with any civil society, and in this case, Action Aid Ghana, in ensuring that they have been reintegrated. And the whole process is simply to symbolically close it and to send a signal that we don't expect comes of that nature.
Commissioner Joseph Whittle also has been given some updates on the enforcement of a recent ruling to have some members of the Ghana Armed Forces who allegedly brutalized some children for allegedly stealing a laptop, also taking paid attention to. My colleague Komla Adum again joins us with more. Hello, Komla. Well, we've lost Komla, but here is his interaction with Mr. Whittle.
The particular rights abuse which we are not comfortable with is the practice of torture by our police and by our military. We've had occasion to investigate a number of cases against the military. As for police brutality, it is something that happens every day. These are things we don't expect to continue. Power has been given by state to these bodies to ensure that we protect them, citizens. We cannot use the power of the state against the same citizens who have given you that power. And so the leadership of the armed forces, of the police, in fact, of every person who has been given power over citizens should be exercised having regard to the fundamental human rights and dignity of Ghanaians.
Recently, there was a ruling from your office on the torture of some young children, and we know that some amounts of monies have been awarded for them, and also that you called for the settlement of the medical bills by the military as well. I mean, the soldiers who were involved. Is there any follow-through process to ensure that these are done so they do not get away with it?
Well, I must say that the armed forces is a very disciplined body. You remember there was an earlier case, Christopher Bama. We are working through an implementation plan with the armed forces, and we are confident that they will follow through. This one has just happened, and we are expecting them to get back to us because we've given them 3 months. We want to know how they intend to meet that.
Remember, we brought you that story here on the JoyNews channel. We'll be watching that space. 3 months, he says, the military has to respond to that ruling. Well, still